Okay. Hi everyone, this is me. This is the second video of me reading Chapter 2 of Dealing with Dragons. The figure moved sideways and Simran saw that it was a knight in shiny new armor, except for the legs where the armor was dusty from walking. Simran wondered briefly why he hadn't ridden, but decided not to ask. The knight's visor was raised and a few wisps of sandy hair showed above his handsome face. He was studying her with an expression of worried puzzlement. "What can I do for you?" Simran said after several moments had gone by and the knight still hadn't said anything. Well, if you are the Princess Simrine, I've come to rescue you from the dragon," the knight said. Simrine set the point of a broadsword on the ground and leaned on it as if it were a walking cane. "I thought that might be it," she said, "but I'd rather not be rescued. Thank you just the same." Not be rescued. The knight's puzzled look deepened. "But princesses always—" "No, they don't," Simrine said firmly, recognizing the beginning of a familiar argument. "And even if I wanted to be rescued, you're going at it all wrong." "Oh my God. What?" said the knight, thoroughly taken aback, shouting, "Come out and fight the way you did. No self-respecting dragon is going to answer to a challenge like that. It sounds like a child's dare. Dragons are very self-conscious of their dignity, at least the ones I've met so far are." "Oh," said the knight, sounding very crestfallen. "What should I have said?" "Stand forth as do battle is the usual challenge," Simrine said with authority, remembering her princess lessons. She'd always been more interested in what the knights and dragons were supposed to say than in memorizing the places where she was supposed to scream. But the wording doesn't have to be exact as long as it's suitably formal. "You're new at this, aren't you?" "Rescuing you is going to be my first big quest," the knight said gloomily. "You're sure you don't want to be rescued?" "Quite sure," Simrine said. "I like living with Kazul." "You like—" The knight stared at her for a moment, then his expression cleared and he said, "Of course. The dragons enchanted you. I should have thought of that before." "Kazul has not enchanted me, and I do not want to be rescued by anybody," Simrine said, alarmed by the knight's sudden enthusiasm. "This place suits me very well. I like polishing swords, and cooking cherries jubilee, and reading Latin scrolls. If you don't believe me, ask anyone in Linderwall. They've been complaining about my unprincess-like behavior for years." "I'd hear something about fencing lessons," the knight said doubtfully, "but knights aren't supposed to pay attention to that kind of thing. We're supposed to be above rumors and gossip." "The fencing lessons were just the beginning," Simrine assured him. "So you see why I'm perfectly happy being a dragon's princess." "Huh. Yes," said the knight, but he did not look convinced. "Speaking of dragon, where's yours?" "Kazul's not my dragon," Simrine said sharply. "I'm her princess. You'll never have any luck dealing with dragons if you don't get those things straight. She's gone to the enchanted forest on the other side of the mountains to borrow a crepe pan from a witch she knows." "Oh my God. Dragons eat crepes. What? What is this book?" "She's what?" "She's gone to borrow a crepe pan," Simran repeated in a louder voice. Perhaps you'd better have your helmet checked when you get back. They're not supposed to interfere with your hearing, but sometimes—" "Oh, I heard you," the knight said, "but what does a dragon want with a crepe pan?" "She doesn't want it. I do. I found a recipe in the library that I want to try, and the kitchen just isn't equipped to handle anything but the most ordinary cooking. What is this book?" "What?" "Kazul will fix that eventually, but for the time being we have to borrow things like crepe pans and souffle dishes." You really do like it here," the knight said wonderingly. Simrine refrained from implying that this was what she'd been trying to tell him all along, and instead said, "How did you know where I was?" "Things get around." The knight waved a hand in a vague manner. "In fact, I had to hurry to make sure I was the first. Half of the kingdom of Linderwall and a princess's hand in marriage is a reward rich enough to tempt a lot of people who wouldn't normally bother with this sort of thing." "Father's offered half the kingdom to whoever rescues me?" Simrine said incredulously. "That's more than half, or excuse me, that's more than all my sister's dowries put together." "It's the usual thing in cases like this," the knight said mildly. "This is so meta. They're like discussing the idea of a knight." "Okay." "It would be," Simrine said in tones of deep disgust. "Well, at least you could go back and tell them I don't want to be rescued. Maybe that will keep anyone else from coming here." "I can't do that," the knight said. "It's—" "Just not done," Simrine finished. "I understand perfectly." She gave him a polite farewell, more because she had been brought well up than because she felt like being polite, and sent him on his way. Then she went back into the cave and polished the broadsword until it was mirror bright, which relieved her feelings a little. There were 2 nights the following day, and 4 more the day after that. On the 4th day there was only one, but he was exceptionally stubborn, and it took Simrine nearly 2 hours to get rid of him. By then she was thoroughly disgusted, and even considered letting Kazul handle the nights from then on. She could not quite bring herself to do it. The knights would certainly attack Kazul as soon as they saw her, since that was what they were coming for, and sooner or later someone would get hurt. Simrine did not like to think that someone might be hurt trying to rescue her, particularly since she did not want to be rescued, so with a sigh, she decided that she would continue to handle the nights as long as Kazula would let her. Prince Thorandil showed up at the end of the third week. He was limping a little as if his metal boots pinched his toes, and the feathers attached to the top of his helmet sagged badly. He stopped and carefully struck an impressive pose before issuing the usual challenge. Cimorine was not in a mood to be impressed. Besides, she could see that his helmet was a different style from his gold armor, and that the armor had gaps at the knees and elbows where it didn't fit together quite right. "Aren't you a little slow?" she asked irritably. "There've been 8 nights here before you." "8?" the prince said, frowning. "I thought by now there had been at least 12. Perhaps I'd better come back later." Cimorine stared at him in surprise. "Why?" "Well, it would look better," Thorandil explained seriously. "There's not much glory in defeating a dragon that hasn't already beaten 10 or 15 people at least. Sir Gorlax of Merstworld won't even consider going after a dragon who scores less than 45. Does it count as beating him if she convinces them away? Anyway, I don't think I want to risk waiting that long, but 8 just doesn't seem like enough. You're going to go away and wait until Gazul has defeated 15 knights. I said Gazul, I'm sorry. Until Kazul has defeated 15 knights before you come back to rescue me, Cimorine said. She found Thorandil's smug confidence very annoying, but she didn't like to say so straight out. "Not if you'd rather be rescued now, of course," Thorandil said hastily. "Though you ought to consider the advantages, and I expect it won't be so very long." His voice trailed off and he looked at her hopefully. "I'm afraid it will be a very long time," Cimorine said with satisfaction. "You see, Kazul hasn't defeated any knights at all yet." But I thought you said there'd been 8, Thorandil spluttered. "I said 8 of them had come by. I didn't say they fought anybody. I sent them away." You sent them away?" Thorandil repeated, plainly horrified. "But that's not done, I know," Cimorine smiled sweetly. "But I've done it, and I intend to go on doing it, so you might as well go home and warn your friends. They'd feel so foolish, if they came all this way into the mountains to rescue me and they had to turn around and go back home without doing anything." "They certainly would," Thorandil said indignantly. "What do you mean by playing these kinds of tricks? Don't you want to be rescued?" "No," said Cimorine, losing her patience at last. "I don't, and I'm tired of having my work constantly interrupted, so please go away and don't come back." "You can't possibly mean that," Thorandil said. "Besides, everyone expects me to rescue you." "That's your problem," Cimorine told him. "I'm going to go fix dinner. Goodbye." Before he could say anything else, she turned and ducked back into the cave, hoping the prince wouldn't follow. What is this book? Oh my god. It just turns the whole, rescuing a princess thing on its head. I love it. Oh my god. Okay. Yes. Next, I'm going to make a few of these in a row today, but the next one will be going up tomorrow, Sunday, for, I don't know, at some time. Probably around noon-ish. I'm not promising. Sometime tomorrow. It'll be linked on my Twitter. You'll see it. Okay.